Hey everybody, welcome back to the Bourbon Note. I'm Greg.
I'm Ben.
And today, we're drinking bourbon. All right, Ben.
Got it right here.
I have a feeling this is one of those bottles that people overlook a lot.
Well, it could be. I know I certainly did. We've got, bam, Belle Meade Reserve, 108.3 proof. Okay, so I have never had this. You've never had this.
I have never had this, although we know it's distilled in Indiana.
So we're rocking some MGP here. We also know that it's mostly discontinued. And when I say mostly, I mean apparently
You have to be careful because certain YouTube commenters are like, how dare you?
Yeah, I got shredded a little bit for saying this was discontinued, but it is available at the distillery in the gift shop. But it's discontinued to the entire rest of the planet.
But the distillery is in Tennessee?
Yes.
Nelson Green, we think, is the
Nelson Greenbrier, is that what it is?
Yeah.
And so apparently what the replacement is that Nelson Brothers, and I've heard mixed reviews about that. But we're here to talk about
this one,
Belle Meade. Now this is 108.3 proof, as I said in the intro. Nothing on the age statement, but it does say...
I would disagree with you. It did say...
It gives some information. It says age to perfection.
Yeah, age to perfection.
You can keep your 10-year age statement.
Yeah.
Is it perfect?
You and your numbers.
This one is. So let's get into the nose and see what we find here. And I'm already getting wild.
Wild and crazy. All right. Guess is it's MGP, and a small disclosure, we happen to be big fans of MGP, so it's going to be hard for them to mess this up.
I don't know what the secondary grain is in this. Good Lord. But I'm getting some rye vibes. I'm getting a little bit of those...
Like just basic bourbon. Not that that's a bad thing. I mean,
right.
We have a channel all about bourbon. But it's nothing very... It's just bourbon-y, which, again...
What I mean by the rye vibes, I'm getting a little bit like that clove sort of note.
I could see it leaning in that direction.
But I'm also getting a little bit of that kind of bubblegum note that we get on Weeders.
I don't think this is a Weeder.
And maybe that's just from recent other reviews.
Yeah.
I don't think it's a Weeder either, but...
I'm getting a note that is similar to watermelon, which is weird because I don't actually like watermelon.
Okay.
But it's a little bit of like a bright, sweet kind of fruit note. And that's kind of where, like, I don't know, it's I don't know.
Like just some melon and it has not gone cantaloupe.
No, it hasn't gone, well, not yet.
All right, well, let's get into the taste and see if it does. Cheers.
Boy, that has a very unique flavor. It does have a really, like if I were to drink this blind, well, I hope I'm not blind, but you know, in a blind flight.
That shouldn't affect your taste too much.
Well, I think it does. But in a blind flight, I could maybe think this is from a different distillery in Kentucky.
Okay.
That rhymes with Jim Beam.
Sure.
Because it has.
It's a little nutty.
Yeah, exactly.
It's not uncommon for you and me to get nuttier notes off of MGP, though. We've said that before. We've said that before in other reviews. Like, MGP definitely has its own flavor profile. I am not actually getting that quite as much. This has a really nice flavor to it.
Yes. I like it a lot, but it is so different than what I expected and what we've had from other MGP that I'm curious what's different. Is it something with their blending and like their finishing?
It definitely is nutty, for sure.
Yeah.
But there's also some other kind of quintessential MGP notes that we get, or at least that I get, that we've talked about, that some of those are kind of lacking on this. And there's really just kind of like a nutty sharpness to this.
Yeah, so it's like as you taste it, it's got a really building flavor, and some of that's the proof that really comes through. Not in a bad way, but it's noticeable. But there's this other flavor. It's not real sweet. But then it kind of turns bitter on the finish, which is nice. It's kind of a counterpoint to the sweetness at the beginning.
A little tannic.
Yeah.
A little tannic.
It almost hints at a couple of flavors, and I'm trying to get a good description for it. It's not really like red fruit grapey, but it's...
I'm kind of having a hard time figuring out how to describe this. Now, the reason I wanted to get this is because it's being discontinued everywhere on the planet except for the distillery. And I've heard a lot of people say, like, you know, this is one of the great ones from, you know, from Belle Meade, because they have a bunch of different expressions. But this one seems to be the one that people are kind of like, yeah, it's available, it's great.
Sure.
Don't pass it up, get them while they last. I've heard a lot of that in comments and just from other YouTube channels. And I agree that it's really good. I don't know that it's something that I need to go out and buy a bunch more before they're gone.
Sure.
You know, I would do that with Early Times Bottled in Bond because it's one of my favorites.
I now have a description.
But it is really nice. A little peanut butter on here.
So we often get the flavor vanilla on bourbons, but it tends to show up on the finish. This one, I'm actually getting it kind of on the beginning.
Okay.
And it's that like spicy vanilla, but then it has a real nice fade as it goes toward the finish.
I'm getting slight zebra cake. The white frosting, the fake yellow cake. On the nose. But yeah, this is really good. Now, it runs just below, I think it's like 65-ish.
You had me until there.
I don't know that, I mean, it's 108 proof. It is aged to perfection.
Well,
so we know it's a perfect age.
It's somebody's definition of perfection. So here's the deal. There are other brands that we know come from MGP that are about at this price point.
Or even less.
But I was thinking of one that rhymes with Wellum.
Okay, yeah.
I think same price point, same distillery. I've only had 2 of theirs, so it's really hard to say that I think they're all better. But
I can see some similarities.
Yeah.
For those of you who can't rhyme, he's talking about Stellum.
Yeah.
Doc Swinson's also MGP, fantastic.
But I think we've been really happy with everything. Well, we've had one rye, one bourbon.
And some of their stuff is around the $70 mark, but even just their basic blender's cut bourbon, I would say competes with this, and that's around $50. But this is really good. This is a really nice bourbon. I'd like to do the comparison. I'll probably pick up a bottle of the Nelson Brothers and see what
like if there's
the difference is.
So do we think they're going to be distilling their own juice?
That's what I was just going to say. I don't know what Nelson Brothers actually is, and I've heard literally night and day. It's garbage. It's great. Yeah. And that's all I've heard, and nothing in the middle. So I'm really tempted to pick up a bottle just to compare it and see what all the hype is about.
Okay.
Because there was some hype about this bottle. Don't regret buying it. It's a great pour. I don't know if it maybe carries as much weight with me as it does with everybody else. You know.
I would say there's a lot of competition at this price point, proof point,
perfect,
and distillery point,
but it's really good.
It is.
I would say if this at $50, perfect.
Sure.
Because, like you just said, it has a lot of competition.
Yeah.
In that kind of realm. So, but still a great pour. Not going to have any problem getting through this one. As a matter of fact, as soon as the camera's off, I think I'm going to pour another one of these and go have a cigar. So.
That sounds exciting.
All right. Well, this has been Belle Meade Reserve on the Bourbon Note. I'm Ben.
I'm Greg. Till next time. See you next time.